Fathers, how did your child change your life forever? My daughter asked me to visit a prison when she was 12, and it destroyed my perfect image. I'm a firefighter, been doing it for 15 years. Clean record, community hero, all that stuff. After my wife died when Casey was 5, it was just me and her. She thought I was Superman or something, always bragging to her friends about her firefighter dad who saves people. I loved that she saw me that way. One Tuesday, Casey came home from school quiet. Normally, she'd tell me everything about her day while I made dinner. That night, she just picked at her food and went to her room early. The next morning, she asked if we could visit a prison that weekend. I almost choked on my coffee. Turns out her classmate Miguel had been crying during their Father's Day project at school. His dad was locked up for armed robbery. Casey wanted to visit him with Miguel so he wouldn't feel alone. My heart broke for the kid, but I didn't want my 12-year-old daughter in a prison. After thinking about it, I agreed, but said I'd come too. What I didn't expect was meeting someone who knew me. When we got to the visiting room, Miguel's dad Luis looked right at me and froze. I felt my stomach drop. He knew me from county jail. 20 years ago, when I was 19, I beat up some guy who attacked my little sister, got charged with assault, spent 2 years locked up. My dad was a cop, pulled strings, got me early parole. My record got sealed when I became a firefighter. Nobody knew. Not my wife before she died, not Casey, not anyone. Luis kept staring at me during the visit. Casey noticed something was off but didn't say anything. Miguel seemed happy to have visitors, and Luis was actually a decent guy trying to turn his life around. On the drive home, Casey asked why I looked so nervous. I lied and said prisons just made me uncomfortable. That night, I couldn't sleep. What if Luis said something next time? What if other inmates recognized me? What if Casey found out her hero dad was actually an ex-con? The next weekend, Casey asked if we could visit again. Miguel had been happier at school all week. I panicked but couldn't say no without explaining why. During the second visit, Luis pulled me aside when Casey was talking to Miguel about school stuff. He said he wouldn't say anything but asked why I was there. I told him about Casey wanting to help Miguel. He nodded and said my daughter had a good heart. Then he said something that hit me hard. He said most kids with dads inside don't get visitors, especially not from firefighters and their daughters. It meant everything to Miguel. That night, Casey asked if we could make it a regular thing. She'd noticed how happy Miguel got when we came. I realized I had two choices: keep lying and risk her finding out eventually, or tell her the truth and risk losing the way she looked at me. I chose the truth. After dinner, I sat her down and told her everything about what I did, why I did it, the time I served, how my dad helped me start over. She listened without interrupting. No crying, no yelling, just listening. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "You were protecting your sister. That's what heroes do." Then she hugged me and said, "You were always a hero. You just became one earlier than I thought." I almost lost it right there. We kept visiting Miguel and Luis every other weekend. After a few months, I started talking to other inmates who barely got visitors. Casey would bring homework to help kids with their letters to their dads inside. 6 months later, the prison asked if I'd speak at their re-entry program about second chances.